Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. We've got your latest Manchester United news as the Glazers plan to stay, maybe, as they look at stadiums and options, and also the quarterly revenue figures come out and it means more debt. It's a terrifying picture actually if you analyse it like I have and many other people have for the last hour. But how are we all doing? Lots to talk about. I feel so happy to be back on the show and it's only been 24 hours. I was on stage in London last night. It was a fantastic show. Thanks everyone who came to it. Absolutely buzzing. The show just keeps getting better and better the more we do, and we've got more planned. We'll be releasing some dates soon, so hopefully we'll get to see more and more of you because I absolutely loved it last night. What a venue! What an international break it's been in that sense. And can I just say as well, these sort of things will go down well. I got this sent up to my dressing room after the show, a little gift from somebody who turned up. So I thought I'm going to read this out on now because I might get more gifts in the future. So it says, to the United Stand, well, it should be to me, from Triggered Salt. So I know who that is because they are in the live chat, and I met a few people. I met Slow Sports News from the live chat last night, and Robert McCormack was there. But he's got me this book, and you know what? These things will go down with me. I've got a little... Oh, dropped it. It's fine. I've got a little spot for it. We're going to pop it up there. There we go. Lovely stuff. Thanks very much for that, Triggered Salt. We're there. Good night. Last night, says Robert McCormack. He was on the front row. I caught his eye. He was there putting his hand up for Harry Kane. But no, they were great shows. Looking forward to them. Hopefully get some more clips up for this evening. But look, let's get straight into the show. That's what we're all about here. This is the bread and butter. And we're here to talk about the Glazers. There's been some interesting things going on today, this morning, around the quarterly revenue figures, financials coming out. And a bit of panic, I think, amongst Manchester United fans that the Glazers might be planning to stay. The stadium situation, there's been some more detail coming out about that. There's been more talk about debt and some debt being cleared. Look, the overarching short story takeaway is this. United are absolutely screwed financially under the Glazers. Whether they're going to pay... There's a story there that we borrowed 200 million and we've still got 100 million left, which we're going to pay back. Yeah, we spent 100 million then and we're going to use the other 100 million to pay it back. We're not clearing any debt. We took 200 million debt. We've spent 100 million. There's 100 left. We're going to clear it. You know, you're back where you were. We are riddled with debt. In fact, debt's gone up in the last 4 months. We're absolutely riddled with it. Any money we earn from the Champions League, match day revenue or anywhere else is still going to service debt. There are no way. And look, it also says the Glazers haven't taken any dividends out. Well, whoop-de-doo. Let's hold a bloody party. The Glazers haven't took dividends out. Oh, please stay. Please stay. You've done such a shit job over the last 17 years. Please stay now that you've not took dividends. It's almost like we're meant to be goldfish. Forget Gold Bridge. We're all meant to be goldfish. We're meant to swim around a bloody tank and 7 seconds later forget everything. But in this case, we're meant to forget the last 17 years. Oh, they've not took any dividends. Oh, thanks for that. How many dividends have you took over the last 10 years? Exactly. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about the stadium in a little bit as well. But Adam did smash the show this morning. I love the team we've got. That you know, it allows us to go and do the tour and stuff like that. Adam was brilliant. I'll tell you what, I like Adam's tan. He's had a good break on the international break as well, hasn't he? I think he's in Tenerife. I need to start doing some tours in Tenerife. But the stadium, there are plans for the stadium, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. But again, I feel like come to Scandinavia, says Marcus. I'd love to. But I feel that the stadium plans are hilarious because the Glazers are looking at stadium plans and we're hearing things like, and I'll give you the exact quotes, but we're hearing things like, it will take 6 years to build a new stadium, but it will take longer to renovate the current stadium. And they're looking at the plans. And I'm sat there, and I don't think I'm a genius. I think everyone else is thinking the same. And I'm going, okay, it's going to take 6 years to build a new stadium. I get that. If Arsenal want to build a new stadium or anyone wants to build a stadium, it will take a few years. What I have a massive problem with is you're acting like there's a choice here, and the last 17 years hasn't destroyed this choice. Renovating Old Trafford is going to take longer than 6 years. You've had Old Trafford for 17 years and you've let it rot. If over those 17 years you'd actually, in year 1, put some plans in place, let's keep maintaining it. Year 5, let's do this expansion. Year 10, let's do that expansion. And all the time, renovating it and keeping it up to date, we wouldn't be in this position. These people have created a situation where if we want to stay at Old Trafford, it's going to take many years to get it looking good again, because for 17 years they've left it to die. That's what they've done. People shouldn't forget about this. All these stories coming out today about the choices. Well, the Glazers are still in charge. I don't mind if it's the Jim's choice or it's Althani's choice, because it's not their issue. They're inheriting a problem. The Glazers talking about bloody options. Wow, if we do this, it'll take this long. It will take that. Your fault it will take that long. You've done sod all. Do you realise what happens to a football stadium when you do nothing to it for 17 years? Well, go to Old Trafford and have a look. We shouldn't be in this position. If they just maintained it over the last 17 years, we wouldn't even be talking about renovation or a new stadium. They've basically left it to die whilst pocketing their own money. Disgusting. It's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. But look, let's go through the actual headlines. So this has come out from the Manchester Evening News this morning. Joel Glazer's view of retaining Old Trafford is believed to be shared by senior Manchester United-based club figures. He's understood to have likened visiting Old Trafford to attending baseball games at Fenway Park, the storied home of the Boston Red Sox. Who's put that out? Who's told the Manchester Evening News that? What prat has put that out there? It's just... I mean, is it Sir Jim? What good does that do? There is no part of that that does anything other than raise everybody's blood pressure. What does that do? I mean, we'll start with the biggest joke. He's likened visiting Old Trafford to attending baseball games at Fenway Park, the storied home of Boston Red Sox. He lives in bloody Florida. When does he go to watch the Boston Red Sox? About as much as he goes to watch bloody Manchester United. He never bloody goes to Manchester United. What the bloody hell is he on about? What is he on about? Who do they think they are? Who do they think we are? These sort of stories or leaks actually expose what they think about Man United fans. They don't care about Man United fans. They've proven that. And they think we're thick. But we're more intelligent than them. They've inherited their money. They're very, 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 very rich and successful people, but it's all because of their dad. They actually think they're... there's nothing more dangerous than a rich person who thinks they're clever and they're not. And that sort of nonsense, who does that hit? And they go, I like the Glazers. It's just ridiculous. I would actually... They'd be better off saying, instead of saying, oh, I love Old Trafford, it's like going to watch the Boston Red Sox, they'd be better off. It would hit better with United fans if they went, we're running the club because we inherited it off our dad and we like making money. I think people would react to that better than bullshit like that. I really, really do. But obviously the first bit, Joel Glazer's view of retaining Old Trafford is believed to be shared by senior Manchester United-based club figures. I mean, this is, I suppose, the thing that's worrying people a little bit. Are the Glazers planning to stay? But Joel and Avram, it's not a lie. They would like to stay. They would like to stay at Manchester United. We know that. But there are a few other siblings who hopefully don't want to stay. It's very easy to over-egg the pudding and be sensationalist and start going, oh my God, they're going to stay. But I am going to be consistent with you. I said it in the summer, and I said that the cost of that stadium, I think that's the Glazers gone. And ever since the club's been up for sale, I'm not going to dismiss the fact that the Glazers might want to stay and they might still stay, but my feeling is they're going to go. They are going to go. I don't know why we've got the purple light on. I'm going to stick with it now. It looks a bit odd. I'm not concerned about that. And I don't dismiss or disbelieve the fact that Joel and Avram want to stay. And actually, when you read it, is it really that bad? Joel Glazer's view of retaining Old Trafford is believed to be shared with senior executives at Manchester United. Well, we know that Joel wants to stay. And look, imagine the senior executives are Richard Arnold and co. If you are CEO of Manchester United and you know the owners are going, what's your opinion going to be? If I'm Richard Arnold, I want the Glazers to stay because I've got a job for life. If I'm Richard Arnold and the Glazers sell, have I got a job anymore? Probably not. Maybe not. What are you going to choose in life, people? Definite job for the next 10 years or might lose your job? It ain't hard, is it? It's not hard at all. It's a very, it's a bit like being in a car in a safari and it breaks down, right? Are you going to wait in the car for someone to come and save you, or are you going to get out your car and try and run back? And there's a load of lions around. You're going to wait in the car and see what happens, aren't you? And that's exactly what Richard Arnold and these executives want. I don't even think that story is anything to worry about. Senior executives at Man United want the Glazers to stay. Well, whoop-de-doo. I'm not surprised. Slow sports, I'm shocked. I'm stunned. I'm not stunned. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all. Joel or Avram want to stay, or both. Not surprised about that. Senior executives at Manchester United, they've got mortgages, they've got families. You know, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. And I'm not worried, and I still think they're going to sell. So, look, that doesn't change my mind. There's some things we're going to talk about that might change my mind. That doesn't change my mind. This is something we've been hearing for weeks. Joel and Abraham would like to stay. Their siblings wouldn't. And, look, I'd be absolutely shocked if we heard that, you know, Richard Arnold and co want the Glazers out. Because, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Mark, your football knowledge is second to none. I hope you take Gary's spot on match of the day, says Fish. Okay. And welcome to the Members Club, David Billings and Mark. Glazers' era will be remembered fondly. Many titles won. Put some respect on their names, says Naz. Naz, how to waste $5 and make yourself look a prat? You know, people pay to make themselves look a prat these days, don't they? But thank you very much for your super chat, Naz. It's always appreciated to get different opinions. It never fails to amaze me how many idiots there are in the world. But well done. And, don't let anyone ever change your mind. But yeah, look, that doesn't worry me. Let's move on. There are some other things to talk to you about. So they're looking at the stadium. One reservation about building a new stadium is it could become soulless within a certain period. This is all from the Manchester Evening News. Man United have been informed that the cost of rebuilding Old Trafford or building a new stadium is roughly similar to that of Tottenham's new stadium, which I think is between £1 and £2 billion. Man United have looked at completely demolishing the Sir Bobby Charlton stand and installing a third tier on the Stretford end and the scoreboard end. Early estimates have indicated United could host crowds of 52,000 while the stadium is under construction, which I think is good news. And Man United want to improve their acoustics as well. So look, on the stadium side again, we're almost ticking things off here, aren't we? Do I think that Manchester United looking at stadium options means the Glazers are staying? No, I don't. We knew about this before the sale was announced. They were looking at options around rebuilding or renovating Old Trafford. Probably, I think it was announced a year ago that they were going to start looking at it. Maybe it was last summer. So I don't think that has any impact on the sale. I actually will say this right now. I think by tomorrow night we'll get a significant update on the sale process. Watch this space. Could be early next week, but I think by tomorrow night. And the reason I think that is because I've spoken to somebody, but also because I just think we will. Which isn't really much detail, is it? But look, I do think we will. What I will say is I don't think we're going to find out that we're being bought by Sir Jim or anyone else tomorrow night. I think we'll know what's going to happen next very, very soon. And I do not think that the Glazers, going through... If I buy a house, and when I buy the house, somebody says, we've got planning permission to put an extra bedroom on, does that make the house more appealing? Yes. If the Glazers are selling Manchester United and they say to the owners, these are the plans for Old Trafford, does it potentially add a little bit of more money on? Yeah. I don't think this is any reason for the Glazers to stay. And ultimately, whether they're staying or they're not, Old Trafford needs urgent attention. So moving forward with options, at the end of the day, you need somebody who can give you options on rebuilding Old Trafford or building a new one. Whether I'm Althani, Sir Jim or the Glazers, it doesn't matter. You still need that person to do that. I quite like the idea of renovation, as you know, and I quite like the idea that we just knock the attendance down to 50,000 to, keep playing at Old Trafford whilst other areas are built. Some people want us to go to the Etihad. Why should we go and fill it for them? Why should we be Ed Sheeran, the only people who fill the Etihad? I don't want United to go and play at the Etihad, to be honest with you. I'd rather we found a way to keep playing at Old Trafford, even if we reduce the stadium capacity. Mark, if you were a food, what would you be? You look a bit like a croissant to me, says Matthew Halwell. I don't know about that. They were never serious about selling, just testing the water to see what they can get, says Ern. Well, thank you, Ern. You've sort of led us lovely into the next area, because Manchester United's commercial revenues for Q2 of the financial year have come through. No dividends paid to the Glazers, but again, that doesn't mean anything. In fact, if you're selling the club, I think it looks quite good if you don't take dividends. The financials basically are looking like, in essence, the debt has gone up. It's increased to 535 million from 477 million from the previous quarter. But because of the dollar, it's remained pretty much the same year on year on exchange rate. Revenue has gone up, and the club's announced a net profit for the first time since the pandemic. Debt's increased then, but revenue's gone up a little bit. As I said before, we did this. Remember we were talking about it a couple of years ago. We did this 200 million loan thing, credit loan. Apparently, we're going to get that paid off by the end of the summer. But look, the debt is still around £500 million. Revenue's gone up, but it's not gone up by £500 million. It's gone up by about 10 million. Revenue, profits, whatever you want to call it. Well, revenue and profit are different. Revenue's what you earn. Profit's what you make after you deduct your losses against your revenue. So if I run a shop and I make £100 in one day, but my costs on staff and stock is £102, I've made a £2 loss. So revenue £100, debts £102, I've made a bit of a loss. United's revenue has gone up a little bit, our debt has gone up, but our profits is marginal at this moment in time. I, again, would say, in my opinion, that there is no hint of the Glazers being able to stay at Manchester United. And I know people are getting frustrated, and I completely agree with it. You know, what's going on? Why are we not moving forward? The summer transfer window's coming. If the Glazers stay, I don't think we've got much to spend at all. It'd be Harry Kane and that's it. I don't think we'll buy hardly anything. I don't think we'll get a decent midfielder and a striker if the Glazers stay. I think the club will just be in turmoil under the Glazers and will struggle. I think we've got a platform to, start becoming a side that can fight for titles, but we need that revenue injection that, I've described as super wealth for quite a while now. Do I think there's anything in today about the Glazers or Avram or Joel wanting to stay? Executives wanting them to stay, the stadium plans and all the stuff about the revenue and the debt coming out. I don't think there's anything there that makes you feel anything different from last week or yesterday. I still think the Glazers have to start to sell. I still think they're trying to stay because they've made so much money out of this football club. I mean, at the end of the day, liken it like this. Glazers are prats for delaying the sale, says Mohammed. Great show last night. Was with Aguna and even he enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one, says Dave. Yeah, I can't wait to announce the next shows. The Glazers were testing the water with selling, but the dive in share price when the story was released regarding them staying changed their mind, says Reese Evans. If I was a Glazer, right, it would be a reluctant sale. I get it. They've been here 17 years. I'm trying to think of an analogy, right? At the end of the day, I've got one. It's a bit rude. Imagine you marry your dream person, right? And for 17 years, you screw it, absolutely senseless, and it's absolutely amazing, with consent, of course. Although in this case, we're not going to go down that road. And then after 17 years, you've tried Viagra, it ain't working anymore. It's time to go, but you're still trying to find a way. And I think that's what's happening with the Glazers. They've had a good ride, literally, for 17 years, and they want to carry on. But there ain't no amount of Viagra that's going to get them carrying on here. We'll move away from that one. But there isn't. They've screwed Manchester United for 17 years, and we've just had to take it. And look, there has been enjoyable moments. We've won the Champions League, we've won the Premier League, but enough is enough now. No one's enjoying it anymore. And I think they have to accept that they can't do it anymore. It's like, these idiots. I've got friends from school and they'll message me and go, such and such got in contact with me from Facebook. Remember her at school? She was really good looking. I was like, yeah. We were like 14. And that's not Nancy because everyone was 14. But what I'm saying is, I'm sure you've had this. Well, you probably don't go on Facebook because you probably switched on, but I'm of a generation that still goes on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook. And they'll say, oh, you know, because we're in our late 30s now, they'll go, oh, such and such got in contact with me off Facebook. And yeah, I remember at school, she was really hot and popular. She wants to meet up for a drink. And I'll go, what good can come out of that? Like, that was 25 years ago. And you've got a vision of somebody from school, which you shouldn't have. That is nonsense when you're doing that in your late 30s. But look, don't go anywhere near it. It's a big, massive mistake. But people get nostalgic. And I think that's what the Glazers are doing. I think the Glazers are looking back at the last 17 years where they've made so much money and took the piss. And they're reluctant to let it go. And I accept that. I think everybody accepts that. I don't like it, but they have made... I mean, look, they bought the club on debt. I think they're out. I mean, they're going to make billions for very little outlay. And they've had all the dividends over the years. They've made so much money out of this football club. And when you've had a good ride like that, you want to keep it going. But I'm absolutely convinced that they can't. What I will say is if they try to carry on, they'll regret not selling it now because it will be chaotic. If the Glazers stay, it'll be chaotic. There's too many fans, you included, who will not accept them staying. They won't. And they can go, well, we're not bothered, but they won't. And ultimately, the Glazers have never wanted to spend money like Man City do. They don't want to do that. So they're not going to start doing that. They don't like spending money. So if the Glazers stay, it will be chaotic and a mess. I think they've got to go. I think they will go. I just think they're getting their head around going. And that's what I think will happen. And all these financial things today, the club's in a bloody mess. You know, people talk about debt repayments and profits. The profit the club's made is about 6 million in the last 3 months, isn't it? We're in £500 million of debt. That's like being in debt to some drug dealer for like 40 grand and saying, don't worry, I found a tenner. You're still going to get your knees broke. We're doing all sorts of analogies tonight. But look, 6 million profit compared to £500 million debt. It ain't nothing to write home about. Nothing's changed. We're in huge debt. We need to build a stadium or rebuild a stadium. And Ten Hag needs a lot of money and the infrastructure needs a lot of money. If the Glazers want to pump £4 billion into the club, by all means, have a go at staying. But they ain't got 4 billion. They ain't got the money. They haven't got the money. They've been stretching for 2 years trying to find the money and they can't find the money. Sebastian says, Mark, the show last night looked amazing. The venue colour lights did give me strip club vibes, though. So Sebastian, well, you know, there was no stripping, but it was a cracking show. It was my favourite. Well, look, in relation to the tour, we want to do more. They were more a run of. They were more a trial, really. I look back to the thing about me is, and you know this, you know about this community. The thing I struggled with on tour is that a lot of people. I've been to see Ricky Gervais a couple of times, and both nights basically the same. Really good, but the same. Like, he learns his thing, like most stand-ups, and that's it. I can't do that because I'm not a stand-up, but also I can't do the same thing. So every show we do is different, and we've been messing around with things like to make it work. We had Faz and Ricky up on the stage last night, but the audiences have been fantastic, and we're looking forward to getting some more in probably at the end of the season. So and making it a bit more interactive. They're very interactive anyway, but we've got some ideas about it. So yeah, if you can get yourself along, really great. I mean, there was somebody last night in London who'd flown in from Singapore. In Dublin, people had flown in from New York. On the second night in Dublin, someone had driven from Wales, but said it took them 19 hours. That's not a good advert for the Welsh. Literally, it's a couple of hours on the ferry. I don't know what way they came to Ireland, but they said it took them 19 hours. But it's been great. It's been great to meet people. You know, at the end of the show last night, we do like a bit of a meet and greet thing where you can, there was a big queue of people, and we have to do photos and stuff like that, which is always great to meet and to have a chat with people. So look, hopefully we can do a lot more. But look, it's amazing what we've built. Love it. But that's something very separate. I remember when the Glazers took over, reading the debt would be gone in just a few years. I thought it was crafty but clever. I was sold a lie, says Simon. You certainly were. And I just do not think that they are going to stay. There was a Norwegian last night. No, he's Polish. He said, hi, Mark. I said, are you American? He said, no. And I said, Swedish? No. Norwegian? No. Icelandic? No. And basically, he had to tell me. I said, I'm never going to get it. I was panicking now. I said South African and, Polish. So, yeah, we go. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And I've really enjoyed this show with you. I am back on the 8 o'clock show tonight. But I can't give you the facts because I don't have the facts. I think by tomorrow night, we'll have a big update on the sale. And I think the Glazers are selling. I can't be held accountable for that. I'm not involved in the negotiations. It's just information and opinion. But I know there's a lot of stuff gone on today where some United fans are getting concerned because it says that the Glazers want to stay. It says that executives in the club want them to stay. The financials come out and there's talk about profit and repayment of debt and the stadium plans. Stadium plans had to happen anyway. With the revenue is shit. We're still £500 million in debt, so I'm not convinced by that. Executives at the club wanting the Glazers to stay, that's like turkeys voting to cancel Christmas. It is. I'm sorry, if you're on United's executive board and you've got a choice between the Glazers staying or the Glazers going, you're literally a turkey voting to get Christmas cancelled, because if Christmas goes ahead, it could be your neck on the chopping line. So that doesn't surprise me. And Joel or Avram wanting to stay, as I said, the analogy, they've had 17 great years, they want to carry on, but the time's up. It won't work. It won't work. In fact, I would say this, if the Glazers don't sell now and try and hang on, they'll be gone within a year anyway. But I think they will go through with it this time. There's no future under the Glazers. They just need to realise that. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. You have been legends in the chat. I'm so happy to be back in the chat doing a live show. And of course, we've got the 8 o'clock show tonight for you. Football's heading back as well. We've got Ten Hag press conference tomorrow. I mean, are you excited? I'm really excited. We've got Man United Newcastle on Sunday. Then we've got Europa League. No. We've got Brentford and Everton. Then we've got Europa League. It's fasten your seatbelts time, isn't it? It's every 3.5 days until the end of May, and who knows where we might end up. I think the international break's been good for Ten Hag. I think it's been good for United. Some players have had a rest. Varane driving in today. So pleased to see that. We know we haven't got Casemiro, but if we didn't have Varane, I don't want to see Maguire at the back. We need Varane back for these big games, which is great to see. And yeah, it's fasten your seatbelts time for the next 2 months. I am going to be on Twitch. I'll be on Twitch at about 3:15, mate. So I will be on Twitch, yes. And 8 o'clock tonight. Mahir says don't end. I have to because I've got things to do. But we will be back at 8 o'clock for an hour. There's a load of stuff I wanted to talk about, but I'll give you a few teasers. The story about Maguire that Adam spoke about this morning, you can check that on the morning show if you've not seen it. I want to talk about the Hall of Fame as well. Premier League Hall of Fame. I think it's a farce. And I'll be telling you why at 8 o'clock. And obviously reacting to everything else. Congratulations to you and everyone at United Stand. All the best is Andrew. Big shout out to Triggered Salt for giving us the book. That's nice. We've got something in the background that's actually gifted by one of you. So really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks everyone who came to the shows over the tour. We will have more tour dates out for you. And what I would say is, if you were thinking about coming last time, make sure you come this time because it will be a different show, but they are really good. Even I just enjoyed it so much. Well worth it. And we'll hopefully see you at some future ones. But make sure you're here at 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit. Goldbridge TV on Twitch, Fizzy.